Yeah, we'd like that.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this last personnel committee of this municipal year. That seems to have gone really fast. Any apologies?
Apologies to Councillor Skelton, Councillor Rawson and Councillor Potter. Thank you.
I've got no late items. Any declarations of interest? Item 4, minutes of the meeting on the 3rd of November. Any comments? You happy to move? Thank you very much. So item 5, apprenticeship programme update. Tanya, to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for inviting me to give you an update on the apprenticeship programme and the service. So it's the usual update, the 3 points of the purpose. So it's to provide an update of the current priorities, also to give data for the widening participation stats, and then to give an update on the levy payments and the drawdown as of the 28th of March this year. So, and the recommendations would be to note our current priorities, to note the widening participation statistics, and also to note the levy payments that have been drawn down. So, and the reason for bringing this paper is to ensure that the Personnel Committee is aware of the current position of the team priorities and the apprenticeship. So moving on to the supporting information, 4.1, the apprenticeship team current priorities. So it does seem a little while ago now, but National Apprenticeship Week was the 6th to the 12th of February, and we had a very busy week. The theme for the week was Skills for Life. And how apprenticeships can support individuals to develop their skills and knowledge to have a rewarding career. So, as I say, we had a very busy week. As you can see, we attended various events with our training providers across the city, and a lot of attention was paid to promoting to the schools. We had a very good event on the 8th of February where we were at the Kelliston Round campus of Derby University, where they bussed in local schools of the area, and there was a huge footfall. There was about 400 footfall over the 2 days. So, and a lot of expressions of interest and a lot of raising of awareness. So that was a really positive event. We also that week worked with the comms and marketing team and did some case studies around current and past apprentices and how apprenticeships have supported them with their careers, and posted those on social media. So again, raising that awareness of the benefits. And then we did a school competition as well, where we went out to all of our 24 secondary schools across the city and asked them to produce an advert promoting apprenticeships across the city. And we had 2 winners for they brought about good adverts. And what we're doing is the comms and marketing team are inviting them in for a day to convert those adverts into media that we can use on our big screens across the city. So they're going to get a day's work experience with the comms team and see their advert come to life. So, and we're just in the processes of planning the dates. We're hoping it'll be later this month or early May that they'll come in. And then we want to do some media promotion around that as well. So that was a really positive engagement with the schools. So moving on, further promotion, as you can see, we've been out and about promoting our opportunities at various events at the beginning of the year, and we've also got some events planned in with the schools further on in the year. There's been a recent change of legislation where the schools now, under the Gatsby benchmarks, the schools now have to have 5 engagements with further education for the year 10s and above. So what we're finding is the schools are now really coming to us more to find out about the training opportunities and apprenticeships. So the door is finally starting to be open thank goodness. It's taken some work and a long while, but there's some real positive steps about school engagement, which we're really pleased about. So, and then if you go to 4.13, this is just an overview of the partnership working that we're doing at the moment. We're obviously working with the recruitment and retention group. We have been doing that for a while now to see how we can better support our recruitment and our retention across the council. We have a engagement with our care leavers development board as well, and we are actually working with one individual at the moment to support them to see if we can get an apprenticeship opportunity set up for them as well. We've recently started working with the Open Doors Forum to promote opportunities for Black, African, Caribbean people in the city, and we want to develop that partnership around what opportunities are out there, not only for ourselves but for the large employers across the city. So it's signposting, networking to support the Black, African Caribbean community of Derby. We're working with the Derbyshire Academy as well around the health and community and primary care services. This is all around the social care initiative and how we can have more joined up careers working there. And the continuation of the work with the D20 Public Sector Compact Group and the East Midlands Ambassador Network. We've been their long-standing partnerships that are continuing, that are very positive work. So those are sort of what we've been doing over the last couple of, over the last 4 months, really, from the beginning of the year to now, with our partnership working and our promotion. So moving on to internally, our workforce development. We've had some new starts again in February for the Leadership and Management Programme with Derby University. That's still going strong, and good collaboration work with our civic university there. Also, recently, we've had some close working relationship with the finance team. They have put quite a few people on all levels of the finance programme. We've always had close links with the finance section, but over the last couple of years, we've struggled to find a reputable training provider, but we've now established some good ties with a really good training provider, EMA in the city. You might see them at the old Cockpit Island there, where the old Derby Telegraph. So, and we've established really close links with them now for face-to-face training, particularly for our younger finance apprentices, because as you can understand, it's a very technical apprenticeship, so we find that it's better to work face to face. So we've it's taken us about 18 months, but we've now got a really good relationship with a local provider there, which is we're able to support the team. Moving into social care, we've got the programme working with the residential team. We've now got 19 colleagues on programme, upskilling them to get their mandatory level 3. That's starting to pay dividends. We've got some really good feedback from the head of service in that area. We're also upskilling staff there in their maths and English to get them apprenticeship ready, so supporting there. So, and we've had some really good feedback from Ofsted around the training programme as well. So that's supporting them to meet their Ofsted requirements, which it's, as you can imagine, it's a frontline service. It's a very reactive service at times. So it's been difficult to get the programme underway and started, but we're now moving and it's starting to pay dividends, which is great. We've also got our social workers. Again, we had another 3 start this January, so we've now got 14 on programme, developing through over 4 cohorts over the 4 years. So, and we've got the first cohort just graduated the actual degree and now completing their endpoint assessment. So we've got really positive results there. So that's what's happening, sort of the big pieces of work that's happening inside internally at the council at the moment. Levy transfer. You may be aware that we can transfer up to 25% of our levy to external organisations to support with their apprenticeship costs. So what we are doing at the moment, working very closely with the economic regeneration team. So obviously they're the outward facing team, so they're working with their employer networks to raise awareness and signpost employers to our opportunity. We're also utilising our networking with our training providers, because obviously we've got about 25 training providers that we work closely with, and they work closely with employers. So we're exploring all avenues there of how we can support organisations across the city with their apprenticeship needs. And we are also working quite closely there with Derby Homes as well. And they've put forward that they want to start 8 new apprentices in September. So we will be putting up funding for those, which is really positive as well for the city. So we also have periodically we have widening participation data from the Department for Education. So, and I met recently with our representative from the department, and she gave us our updated stats. So I've just put the stats in there of a breakdown of the 4 nominated areas that they record. So disability, including learning difficulties, 16 to 24-year-olds, disadvantaged backgrounds, and BAME. And you can see that's there's 2 different date parameters there, April 22 to August 22 and August 22 to December 22, and the percentage of the breakdown of all of our starts, internal starts and new recruits. So that gives you our stats there. And then moving on to 4.3, which is our levy payments. You'll see the appendix at the back. That is a full year's breakdown of our transactions with all of our training providers. So as of March 28th, the council had transferred 4.3 million just over into the levy, and that's as from the beginning of when the levy started in April 17. And to date, the council has drawn down just under 2.3 million for internal use of our internal programmes, and we've transferred, as I was, to outside organisations 122,000. So that's what we've transferred at the moment. And between April 22 and March 23, we did experience expiration of funds to the amount of 125,000. But as I say, with the work that we're doing, we're trying to mitigate that all the time to bring that down as much as we possibly can. And so the total levy drawdown, taking all of that into account, is 2.9 million as it currently stands in March 23. And just as a reference, on the Appendix 1, it does break down who we actually transfer to at the top of each month and the amount we transfer to them. So that gives you an indication of what organisations we are working with externally currently. So that just gives you an idea there. So thank you very much for allowing me the time to present the paper, and I welcome any questions.
Thank you very much, Tanya, as always.
It's not really a question, Chair. I think that's really good news. The apprenticeship team are doing a fantastic job, and more power to them. But sorry, I did have one question. Is DCG Derby College?
Yes, it is.
Yes, that's all right.
Councillor Carr, yes.
Chair, thanks.
Any question I would have, are you able to tell us the 4 that I'm going onto the list?
Sorry, so
The 4 external.
oh, the 4 organisations.
Yeah.
Yes, councillor. We've got Derby Homes coming onto the list.
Yeah.
We've got Neutrality, which is another organisation we're working with, which is part of Shore Screen. We've got NCS Fabrications we're going to be working with. We've got another accountancy firm, Maple Accountancy,
Right.
we're working with in the city as well.
Okay.
So Yes.
It's real good news, Chair, I think.
That's good, thank you.
Thank you.
So we're happy with the recommendations 2.1, 2.2.
Yes, Chair.
Thank you. So item 6 is attendance management update Q3.
Thank you, Chair. This is a standard attendance management update Q3, which you'll be familiar with seeing at Personnel Committee. We'll draw your attention to the recommendations to note that the Council's performance on attendance management for Q3 22-23 was 3.65 days lost for each full-time equivalent colleague, FTE, against a target of 2.62 days. This shows an increase against the Q2 period actual of 3.57 FTE days lost. At 2.2, you will see that we still have COVID in the top 3 absences of the Council, which is still having a significant impact on numbers and the end of year numbers of days lost, which, if was removed, would be 9.07 FTE days lost and would have been within the Council's target of 10.5. I'll take you through the supporting information. You'll see at 4.2, and as you're aware, the attendance management policy, which was recently being updated and approved at Personnel Committee. There's been a communications approach developed to ensure colleagues are aware of the policy changes, along with roles and responsibilities under the policy. And the supporting information available to colleagues is already and is on iDerby. Communications gone through the Council's All Colleague In Touch Bulletin on the 17th of March this year and informed all colleagues that they will be required to accept the policy under the new e-learning module. We'll also be reminding managers and tracking and monitoring that colleagues do accept the new policy moving forward. So at 4.3, you'll see that the attendance management performance and the top 3 reasons for absence with comparator to the previous quarter show stress anxiety at 14.84% as the top absence, then followed by musculoskeletal at 13% and COVID-19 related illness at 12.64%. Whilst the top 3 reasons for absence remain the same as reported in the previous quarter, COVID-19 absence reason continues to decrease as a trend from Q2, which has been reflected in these quarter's results. You'll see from the Directorate data for the outturn that the overall year-end forecast is at 13.84 overall for the Council at this period of time, against a year-end target of 10.5 days. The revised approach to attendance management has been communicated to empower managers to manage robustly, setting 0 targets for absence, and the HR advisors still working with the service areas on service-specific action plans, looking at hotspots and encouraging wellbeing and health as a priority for all colleagues. We're still monitoring the departmental team's targets, and we work closely with managers to identify short-term frequent absence and long-term absence cases. There are service action plans which are owned by the head of service, supported by advice and coaching as appropriate by the HR business partners. We have bite-sized coaching presentations by HR to support managers to confidentially manage attendance, and these are rolled out as appropriate within the service areas where it's needed. We report to service directors on the departmental team's performance, and you will recall that in previous Personnel Committee reports, we have been stating that we were going to carry out a turn in the curve report. We have carried this out now, looking at the average working days lost due to sickness absence against the local data and also the national context. So we will be bringing further work on this initial analysis to a future Personnel Committee to show the work that we've been carried out against the national context. At 4.5, occupational health and wellbeing, you'll see that occupational health continued to perform above the industry benchmarks with its delivery of occupational health appointments for colleagues, that management reports are issued within 48 hours of the appointment attended, and 100% performance is currently achieved. 90% referrals are seen as assessed by occupational health practitioners as being fit for work in some capacity. Now, this is very positive, and our focus needs to continue to be engaging with these colleagues to support them to remain in work and stay healthy. Recent research also carried out by Indeed indicates that employees truly want what they want from their employer is to support their wellbeing at work. And we want to ensure that wellbeing is embedded in everything we do and championed at all levels and across all functions, so that the positive wellbeing becomes part of our culture. Throughout January, we highlighted the Dry January campaign. February was focused on financial wellbeing, and March was being focused on men and women's promotion, working with our partners at Live Well. So it's just final for me to say to draw the Personnel Committee to note the recommendations within the report on the performance and attendance management for Q3. Have you got any questions?
Thank you. Anybody got any questions?
It's at 4.4, Chair. Thank you. The full-time employment lost days, they seem to be like going up from Q1 to Q2 to Q3.
Yes, that is a natural progression that you would see.
Why?
In terms of it's as the data is gathered and as the data is compiled, you're going to see unless the attendance comes down, then it will come up, and we've seen, you know, a trend of absence going up over the last few quarters.
Yeah, it's like people are getting ill as time's going on looking at this.
Yeah, it is, and that's fine.
It's anything in the course.
Yeah, and I think looking at this report as a standalone is where we need to, and we are moving on, looking at that more national context so that we can compare with others. And I know I attend Derbyshire Personnel Officers Group, and it is something that a lot of the other councils see as well over each of the quarters.
Next, the year-end target to be remaining at 10.5. So.
Sorry, Councillor, so this is the year-end target for the end of the financial year that we've just passed.
Yeah, it was 10.5.
It was
So
10.5.
is it going to be adjusted?
So we're in discussion at the moment about possibly adjusting the target. Yeah.
Very happy to move recommendations 2.1, 2.2. Yeah, thank you very much. And that's all the items on the agenda. I just want to thank profusely the officers for all their hard work, all going in the right direction, all positive, comprehensive, fabulous reports. Thank you so much for all your hard work, all of you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
clarity inside every meeting is
Yes,
fantastic.
I've never been on a committee with such a comprehensive report.
Yes, and I don't think the officers probably don't understand how much it gives us context when we're going to other scrutiny, and we know the answers because you're telling us.
Thank you, Councillors.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Again.